Roma against Lazio, il derby della capitale. One of those games full of danger, full of tension, but especially full of pride if any of the two teams win it. The history of the Rome derby is very complicated. The rivalry starts in 1927 when three clubs joined together to form what is now called AS Roma. Lazio was born in the 1900s and Roma was effectively born 27 years later. And it was from then that the rivalry sparked.
They live for this kind of rivalry.
It's not just a game.
It's something special.
In that moment, it's the animal. It's not sport.
When I see in front of me the other supporters, I think in my head, they must die.
One of the most passionate and emotional derby, I think, in Europe.
Most important, most beautiful, most dangerous, most...
It was the second these three clubs fueled together that there was this instant approach that Roma was the city and Lazio was the region. In thinking about geographical factors, in fact, Roma is the capital of the Lazio region in Italy. And from there, a massive distinction started. Roma fans started calling Lazio fans peasants because they belonged to the countryside, while they thought themselves that Roma was the club of the city, the club that represented the city of Rome. But Lazio fans did not digest this really well. The creation of Roma, Lazio started to find themselves as the outsiders due to the fact that the support for Roma was increasing, due to the fact that it was three clubs formed together and fused together. Lazio suddenly started to see that they were not in the center of the attention anymore. And that, in fact, has started several events of riots, protests, injury and deaths. And this is exactly why the Rome derby is one of the most dangerous derbies out there. Therefore, with the increase in popularity of Roma, Lazio felt the need to kind of regain what was once theirs.
Punto, vuole il sinistro, la mette in mezzo, secondo palo, gol pazzesco di Totti! Ma cosa ha fatto Totti?
Maurizio, la Lazio soffriva tantissimo su quella fascia e Olebas ha messo una palla incredibile, ancora a girare tutta la difesa sul secondo palo, grande acrobazia di Totti che di destro va a incrociare sul secondo palo e trova il pareggio meritato, perché nel secondo tempo la Roma veramente ha schiacciato la Lazio nella propria metà campo, ha alzato i ritmi, ha alzato la qualità del proprio gioco e il proprio capitano ha trovato il pari con un gol straordinario.
Un gol che solo i fenomeni possono fare e questo ragazzo con la fascia di capitano ha 38 anni e guardate cosa è stato capace di fare. E adesso che fa?
Manda un SMS, che fa?
c'è Guido Nanni al suo fianco, si fa la foto, il selfie, e questo supera addirittura quando prese la telecamera, ti ricordi, anni fa, si è fatto il selfie.
There was also a big rivalry in colors. In fact, Lazio is represented by blue and their mascot is an eagle, while Roma is represented by yellow and red. Yellow representing the Vatican City, red representing the Imperial Roman Empire. Roma is represented by the wolf, the mother of Romulus and Remus. There is also a link with Mars, the god of war, which is the father of Romulus and Remus. Roma has more powerful colors. Roma has more empire colors. Roma has more important colors linked with the history of the city, and therefore ingrained themselves in this history and mythology. Lazio started to acknowledge the fact that their colors were secondary colors, which represented the fringes of the capital city. Going on to this, another reason why the Lazio-Roma derby is very, very fierce and wild is because none of the two clubs are very popular outside of Italy, and especially the city of Rome. And especially, they are two clubs which success hasn't really marked them. This means that the derby is the most important game of the season. This means that whoever wins the derby has control of the capital city, the famous Rome. Very essential in differentiating the Lazio-Rome derby and the Milan-Inter derby. This is why the Rome derby is 10 times wilder and fiercer than the Milan derby, because Milan and Inter are both two very successful clubs. Political issues also play a massive part in this derby. Roma fans are more known to be left-wing fans, while Lazio fans are very well known to be more right-wing extremist fans, especially their ultras. Now, especially because Paolo Di Canio, which is Lazio's big man, Lazio's idol, once did the fascist salute when he scored a goal in the Rome derby. And that kind of sparked the ideology that Lazio fans, especially Lazio ultras, are tending to follow. Some very fascist actions that Lazio fans did were famous. In a Lazio-Roma game in the late 90s, Lazio fans were well known for bringing a 160 feet banner at the stadium which displayed a writing which said "Auschwitz is your town and the ovens are your houses" in front of Roma fans. Lazio fans several years ago also printed figurines of Anna Frank wearing a Roma jersey, and they stuck these figurines in front of the seats and kind of the sections which separate the walls which separate the sections at the stadium, for Roma fans to see all of this. But it would be wrong to say that Lazio fans are the only extremist. Obviously, as many teams out there, in fact in 2023, the majority of teams out there all around the world follow a political path, and as much as it is true that Lazio fans are more extremist or more violent than Roma fans, it's also fair to say that Roma ultras groups also have some extremist ideologies. There was a derby around 50 years ago where security in stadiums was very, very low, where Roma fans actually shot a rocket from the Curva Sud to the Curva Nord and killed Vincenzo Paparelli. And from there, the rivalry is very, very big. And this is why you have to be careful. If you're bringing your kids at the derby, you have to be extremely cautious, extremely confident of what you're doing, because some sneaky, unpredicted things could always happen.
È una traiettoria assassina che scende su uno stadio incredulo.
Intorno alle 13:30 un razzo di particolare potenza è partito dalla curva sud ed ha raggiunto, attraversando tutto lo stadio, la curva nord. Lì ha colpito al volto un tifoso, Vincenzo Paparelli, di 33 anni.
Per Vincenzo Paparelli non c'è niente da fare. 33 anni, meccanico, lascia moglie e 2 figli. La sua morte è un doloroso spartiacque. Da quel giorno gli stadi smettono di essere solo un luogo di svago.
The Stadio Olimpico truly does become the ancient Colosseum for this game, and whoever wins the derby gets the keys, the access to the control of the eternal city. The city of Rome, the city which, if you spell backwards, spells love.